Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Yeah, great college baseball game. Hats off to the pitching on both sides. They got a clutch hit there at the end, and we did not. Get ready to go tomorrow.
Okay, let's open it up for questions for the student athletes first. And remember to raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Claire, we have right up here.
Trey, just what were you seeing in the eighth inning there as you tried to score from third base?
Yeah, we were in red, which means I go on contact. As soon as the ball was hit, I took off. I knew he was going to have like an awkward throw, so I kind of tried to get a little bit over to get in the way. But he made a great play.
Yeah, remember to give your name and affiliation. Okay, right back here, Jay.
Michael Cobble, WBRZ TV in Baton Rouge. Ty, you were grooving there, and then you run into a little bit of trouble. I guess what were you feeling? What did you see at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. I think sometimes you get out of a groove a little bit and stuff, but I think I lost a little bit of command. I think I got a little tired and stuff, but I know Thatcher came in and did his job and allowed us to be able to stay in the game right there toward the end.
Okay. Leah?
Ty, you had one of your best outings all year, on the biggest stage. I mean, what are kind of your emotions since you ended up losing this game? Our main focus is win and stuff. I hate that we lost, but at the same time, I know that tomorrow we're going to come back hotter than ever. We got all the motivation in the world to win tomorrow.
Okay, next question. Bye.
Yeah, Trey, just from a batter's perspective, what were they doing a good job of keeping you off balance with?
Yeah, they were mixing pitches really well, going in and out, executing their plan. We were also trying our best to execute our plan. I feel like we put a lot of pressure on them when we needed to. It just didn't work out for us in the end.
Okay, right here, Claire.
Yeah, this would be for Trey and Ty, Glenn Wesco, 247. First time this postseason, you guys' backs are kind of against the wall here. Just how do you think this season-long grind and journey has kind of prepared you for what you got coming here in the next couple of days?
Trey, you start.
Okay. Yeah, nothing changes for us mentally. We always go out there and try to win one pitch at a time. We always play like it's our last time playing the game. So we're going to show up tomorrow and keep the same mentality, play like it's our last time playing together.
Ty?
Yeah, I think that's what makes postseason baseball so exciting and stuff, that a lot of people's backs are against the wall and stuff. But I know we've been here. No, this postseason we haven't been here, but I know we're going to come out hot tomorrow and stuff, and I know that we're going to do our plan tomorrow. We're going to execute all we can.
Okay, Aaron?
Thank you. Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball. Ty, I know fastball is kind of your bread and butter, and it seemed like you had a good one tonight. Was this as good as your fastball has been, and especially against a lineup like this? How were you able to have so much success with it?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me this outing and stuff was to locate my off-speed pitches early in the counts, my changeup and slider and curveball. But I know that my fastball is my best pitch and stuff, so late in the count, I know I can throw the ball in the top of the zone to be able to get strikeouts or outs late in the game.
Okay, another one for Mike.
Trey, I know you're not going to tell us what he said, but what's the Cliff Notes version of that team meeting at the end of the game there?
Short version is keep doing what we've been doing all season. Like I said, we go out there every time, and our plan is to win one pitch at a time. As a team, like I said, we go out there and play together like it's our last time playing the game, so nothing changes. We're in a different position now, obviously, but our mental's still great. We're going to show out tomorrow.
Okay. Any more questions for the student athletes? If not, guys, you can go. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Tennessee will be the home team tomorrow. Thanks. Okay, let's open it up for questions for Jay, and we'll start right here.
Coach, Koki Riley.
Name and affiliation.
Yeah. Koki Riley with the Lafayette Advertiser. I was sort of curious. Were you managing this game in part thinking of the possibility of maybe with there being extra games and having to save a couple arms for later in the tournament at all, or is that not part of your thinking at all?
We were trying to win tonight with our best two guys that we had available, and they both pitched fantastic.
Okay, right up here in front.
Jay, Wilson-Alexander from the Advocate. For the long version, maybe, what did you want the guys to hear from you there in the dugout before y'all dispersed onto the bus?
Yeah, I think it'd be very easy to crawl into a hole with disappointment. That was a great college baseball game that we came up on the short end of the stick. It really came down to Wilkin hit a ball up the middle with no outs and got the guy in from third, and then he made a heck of a play on that play, and then they got a RBI hit there in the eighth, and we didn't when we had our one chance right there. So that could be deflating, but I shared with them two things. Number one, I've had a team in this position before, lost a 1-0 heartbreaker to Oklahoma State and won 3 consecutive games to play for a national championship. Then the very next year, this program did the same thing, and they beat probably one of the best teams in modern college baseball history twice to get that opportunity. And I have all the faith in the world in our team that we can do that. So let's stick to what we do. And if we do that well, then we'll be in a good spot. Yeah, I mean, the teams that are here, particularly the two that we've played, they're the two premier pitching staffs in college baseball. And, Josh Hartle's really good. And, preparing for this game, we knew he would present a challenge. And I thought our guys battled him pretty good.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights. Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Congratulations, first in order. How's life with two?
It's crazy. I feel a little bad that the last couple of days I've gotten more sleep. This summer than the last 6-7 weeks, but it's been great. Number 2 has been a ton of fun and super memorable for me and my family, and so yeah, it's been great.
Hey, Jason, these all seasons kind of run together for you now, I guess. How is this one different than any previous ones, or is it pretty much the same?
In terms of like what I have done specifically from a team side, or what?
Yeah, well, I guess from the team side.
It's hard. I feel like we're starting to figure out what is normal again. I felt like 20 and 21 was just so abnormal that I don't know what that is now. But look, I think we've had a lot of change here in the last few years, and I feel like being here the last few days with the guys and the team, I felt like everyone is gelling really well. I felt like offensively, like we were in a really good place, and I was super pleased to see that, to be part of that, and so I think, man, what I was expecting and what I saw and everything else was all super positive.
What have been your early impressions with Derek Carr?
It's been great, man. I think Derek has come in here and he brings a presence, like a great leadership. Here's a guy that's played a lot of football, and he's been super productive throughout his career, and so he steps in the locker room and you feel that, and his presence in the huddle, and what his expectations are from the guys around him, what he expects from himself. It's like all the things that you want as a leader, and that didn't take long for me to pick up on that and see that.
A little different for you. You get some tight end work and quarterback work both at the this time of year? I mean, how's that been for you, just doing both roles there?
It's been fun. Yeah, I don't really, we have conversations and stuff with the coaches, but I'm kind of like, I show up and I just try to be ready for whatever it is. But it's good. I think we're trying to find this happy medium and happy balance of like, hey, let's be realistic with what we're going to ask you to do this season, and make sure that you're getting the time and reps on those things. And man, I thought the last 3 days has been really great from that standpoint, and that communication between me and the staff and what that has been really good as well.
You had such sort of shifting roles, so completely different roles from year to year. Does it feel like now you're sort of settling into something based on, kind of knowing what the expectation is and not completely changing year to year? Do you feel that different?
Yeah, I think this year is the first time that, we've been able to go back and we've looked at, 17 games and looked at rep count, where that was and what I was being asked to do. And so now we can take, hey, this is like the last 17 games and where your rep count was, where you lined up. And now we can tailor that to, what they're asking me to do on the practice field. And then, the hope is that we start to expand that, And so as a starting point, I think that's what we've done the last few days, and we'll continue to have these conversations and push the envelope of, hey, maybe we do this, or, maybe we put you in this position. And, I think that's kind of where we're at right now.
What part of the role maybe lends itself most naturally to an expansion? I mean, obviously, you're doing the quarterback, and we've seen at least 3 different roles just this week. What area maybe has the biggest area for growth in a snap count sense, maybe?
Yeah, I think maybe doing more as like a receiver. I think that's kind of stuff that hasn't been explored a ton with me here. The throwing stuff as a quarterback or running, that stuff, we've been doing that for a long time, and that's come really natural for me. I think running routes and catching balls and stuff, that was a foreign thing for me. And I also think because of that, we haven't done a ton of it, and I think that there's some opportunities there that we just haven't explored yet. So as I look at next season, I think the hope and the expectation is that expands a little bit. And I think the nice thing is I'm put in different situations. I can go at it and say, hey, if I was throwing the ball to me, I'm just going to do whatever I'd want the receiver to do if I was throwing it to him. And so having that perspective, I think, has also helped me and maybe made that transition a little smoother.
Taysom, just to specify, when you say receiver, do you mean a pass-catching tight end? Because
Yeah. I mean, look, somebody running a route and being thrown to.
And that is the room you're going to continue to do meetings in?
I don't know. I think we're, like I said, we have an open line of communication. And so as we look at the snap count, how many carries was I averaging a game? How many times was I throwing the ball? How many times was I lined up as a tight end? And so maybe part of that is, in the tight end room, part of that's in the QB room, maybe part of that's in working with JT, at the running backs, and hearing how he teaches and coaches these guys to read different fronts, So I don't have an answer for you. I think it's trying to find, hey, what are we going to ask you to do this season? And let's make sure that we're giving you the best opportunity to be successful.
On top of that, though, you did set a career high in carries last year. And I assume you guys are working from a place, you like what you saw from those carries last year, that they were effective?
I thought that what we did was effective last year.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
So I think a lot of this, a lot of these questions are, hey, what does Pete and Doug and what do these guys want to do in the run game this year? I'm certainly hopeful that, I still get my carries and there's opportunities that way. But look, I'm whatever it is, I'm happy to do it. And I think now we're in we just have more time on task. And so let's figure out what that is that you have been doing and give you the coaching you need to be successful at it.
How do you balance getting enough reps but also not spreading yourself too thin among all the different positions?
Yeah, I think the coaches have done a really good job of that. And that's what the conversation is. Hey, let's not just throw you out there to be a body if that's not what you're going to be doing. So let's figure out what exactly we're going to ask you to do, and then make sure when we go to practice, that's where you're spending your energy. And no, like the last few days, for example, I spent more time with the QBs on some days, and then I spent more time with some tight ends, the other, and so I don't feel like. I never felt like they're asking me to do too much. I've been in the system for 6 years, and so I think mentally that helps me a lot. I feel really comfortable and confident in running and operating inside the scheme, which alleviates a lot of that stress. If that wasn't the case, then it would be a lot more challenging.
They talk to you when you're driving to work in the morning. Do you know what you're going to be that day?
No. I usually find out that morning. At least I have the last couple of days, which is fine. Yeah.
We've talked to you in the past about, I think you had different weight goals in the off season, like going up or down. I mean, did you have anything this off season in particular?
No. As far as body weight and stuff, I'm going to stay where I have been. And again, this kind of goes back to what we have talked about. As I look at next year, the hope is that we just expand what we did last year. And so as I prep for another season, I can target my weight training, my running, throwing, stuff like that based on, this is what I was asked to do this year. And, the hope is that it's just more of those opportunities. So that's really what the offseason will be about.
Pete told us a couple weeks ago he felt like he didn't do enough to get you the ball as a receiver and tight end. So I guess you all had those conversations.
Yeah. Look, Pete and I have been together now for 6 going into 7 years. Pete and I have a great relationship, and we have a lot of these conversations. And so we've had those conversations too, and he's great to work with and super realistic, super reasonable. He's a great coach, and I'm grateful to play with him for another year.
What kind of ball does Derek Carr throw?
Derek, you can tell Derek is just a savvy football player that's played a long time, and so I haven't seen a throw or a route that Derek can't make or can't throw, right? So I'm not going to say that Derek, he throws the fastball when he needs to, but he throws a great ball with a lot of touch when he needs to. I think that some guys struggle, hey, is it always a fastball? But sometimes that's not what's needed. And from what I've seen around Derek, he's played so much football, so he knows what ball to throw at what time. And that's been really impressive to see.
Is it like being around Jamal again?
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny. Jamal and I played for 5 years together at BYU, and I saw him for the first time since he's been a Saint just a few days ago. And Jamal is one of those guys for me that it's like I haven't seen him for, or been a teammate of his for 6 years now. and it feels like we were just teammates last year. And so it's been a ton of fun to follow his career. You know, we were in Green Bay together for training camp and stuff, and now to year 7 be able to play with him again is just awesome.
How much better do you think this roster is? I mean, you come in, see the new guys, the draft picks, and you know, what have you been impressed by what you've seen from those guys?
Yeah, look, that's such a tough question. I think we've gone through so much change the last few years. I feel super optimistic from what I've seen the last few days as a team. But you know, we've had a lot of talent here through the years, and this roster is no different than that. There's just so much that goes into a team and how they grow together, and so I think this team has the capability to be as good as any team I've been a part of. But that's still time will tell, you know. But we have everything from what I've seen that we need.
So I don't know if you saw any reports about what the Saints were, expected to get with Jamal Williams, but how would you have reported that story, or what would you have highlighted if you were trying to?
About Jamal? Yeah. Man, I think the thing that Jamal brings that's so unique to him is energy. Jamal has always played with a crazy amount of energy, so whether it's practice or a game or in the locker room, he's the same guy, and he plays and practices the same way. And so that energy is contagious. He's the type of guy you want in your locker room. He's the type of guy you want on the field, and he's always been that way.